I guess we can get started, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. This will be our last meeting for a while. So we're going to just run through a few of the items here on the agenda tonight. Allison was so good enough to do the meeting, write up the meeting minutes for us. And has everyone read them? I don't know if everyone's read them, had any feedback, any changes. Go ahead.
Did I miss the meeting minutes? I saw that there was the March agenda here, and I looked at it and for some reason didn't realize that they weren't the minutes.
I had the same problem. I mean, I realized it wasn't the minutes, and then I thought, oh, maybe we have very, very simple minutes this time. Chris, do you have the minutes that you could share with us?
No, I don't have those right here with me right now.
I can re-email them to you guys. I had attached with everything I can send them to you if you want me to email them to you all really quick.
If you don't mind.
No, I'm happy to.
Okay. I think that'd be a good idea, Allison, if you could, please.
Yeah, no problem. This is when it pays for me to be organized and have it all in the folders for you guys.
Yeah.
Minutes March 12th.
Yeah.
And I will
send. Is that a folder that we can access? Like, does it make sense to make it a folder that we would be able to access, that you don't have to email them?
Yes, that is also possible. I've been doing that for a few different boards, including, yes, that is possible. If that's something that you guys feel like would make your lives easier, I'm happy to do that.
It doesn't matter to me either way. I'm just trying to make your life easier.
Yeah, and that would be a folder that you could access, and all your agendas and minutes go there. Okay, so I just sent you guys the email. You should have the minutes coming in. Look.
I don't know if any of you guys have used or seen the new AI meeting minute taking apps that jump into the meetings, but I've been using it for work a bunch lately, and it's really cool.
It does the minutes for you.
Is it just a transcription?
So it transcribes the entire meeting, then summarizes it, gives like action for whoever has responsibility. It's really neat.
I've used it
Cool,
lately. It is very neat.
And Mika, do you know, is there any reason why we couldn't use that kind of technology?
Not that I'm aware of, Christina, no.
I mean, we don't want to take away Allison's job, but if we could make it easier, that might be good.
Yeah.
It would make it easier for her, to be quite honest with you. It's just something that we have to more or less do our due diligence with initially, just to make sure that it's actually capturing what we're looking to capture. Most of our meetings from a public standpoint, in a lot of instances, you don't need as much detail as what the AI will provide you. And in some instances, you don't necessarily want as much detail as the AI will provide you, but it's certainly, if it's something that's covered, there's no reason not to put it in, certainly. But it's just something we would have to monitor, if you will, to make sure that it's suiting the purpose.
Yeah.
But I think it would be, I think this group in particular would be a good group to do it with, only because it's not, you don't meet quite as often as some of the other commissions. So I think it would be a great way to try it.
Maybe when we start in the fall, Mika, because this is our last meeting till we start again in the fall.
Okay, we'll take it, and by then we'll have some more information on it.
Yeah, and we could have, work with Allison before we get started with it. And I think that would be a positive, try something new and let's see how it goes. Make it easier for all of us.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I really love using it. It's so like it'll tell you the percentage of what was positive in the conversation, what percentage was neutral. You can click on what percentage of the conversation was negative and scroll right to the transcript of the negative aspects of the conversation. It's super useful. And it might not, it's kind of overkill for what we're doing, but I've just been attaching it to all my like Zoom or Teams meetings just for myself. I didn't hear, but it's helpful.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, my job is to keep you guys on track. So
so we've gotten off
check
track.
your emails
Sorry,
and go back
sorry.
to the minutes.
All right, so let's,
Okay.
has everybody had a chance to look at read any of the minutes yet? Because,
I
if
still
we just
don't
run
have it.
through it.
Oh, here it is.
We talked about different assignments. We did all that stuff, the newsletter. We did some discussion on leasing, and then we talked about promoting Woodbridge Farms.
I don't see anything missing.
I
Yes.
think,
I'm willing to make a motion to approve them.
I
I
second.
get a second? We got a second. All those in favor? Aye?
I
Okay, so it's a unanimous decision there. So we approve the minutes. And we'll move on to the next thing. So we've been running this around for a long time, the farm lease extensions. And I know, through previous years and everything, if it's more than 1 year, that either the town people have to vote on it, or it'd have to be brought up at a town meeting, in order to vote on it. I believe that's the case. Tell me if I'm wrong, Mika, but I think that's sort of how that would have to go. And the Board of Selectmen would have to, need to get involved in everything.
You're right, Chris.
But one of the things is, Mika, we're trying to, and we've discussed this with you guys a few times. We're just trying to get something so we could go out a little farther, just so, like Christina was trying to get some farm grants and couldn't get the farm grants. We tried another avenue, and I believe the state didn't approve it. Is that correct, Christina?
Yes. The town had suggested that they could apply for the grants.
Yeah.
And I think basically the response was that if the town wasn't the one who was financially responsible for the implementation of the grant, then, and they didn't have a statement saying that they were willing to lease the land for 5 years to the person who was receiving the grant, then they didn't. I can look up the exact language about what
Yeah.
that response was, but
It'd be great to have, Christina, from my perspective, if you would send that to us, because I can review it with Tony and get his experience. We could also leverage what we know about other towns, and we can reach out to other towns and see what they do to see exactly how they address that particular issue. We have reached out to a number of other towns to see what they do, and they seem to have the same challenges that we do in some cases. So we're going to, I think, need to be somewhat creative and really understand what the overall parameters are, both from our charter and ordinance standpoint and from the state standpoint. Because if the state
Okay,
is saying
sure.
that that's a requirement, then it shouldn't be as challenging as it is for us to find other communities who are doing that.
Mhm.
Mika, I know some of the people in upper state, Connecticut,
Mhm.
that get quite a bit of grants and everything. Over the summer, I'm gonna reach out to them and see how they're going about doing it.
I
And
appreciate
maybe
it.
they got a format that we could look at
Yep.
and bring it up to the Board of Selectmen and you, and just so we can just throw it around and let's see where it goes and how it could go. Because, some of these properties, if say I made the investment of putting, and I'd come to the Board of Selectmen and say, look, I'd like to put deer fencing around a particular piece of property. Well, the state says, look, I'll give you 20 grand, but I have to kick in 10,000. Well, doesn't mean, if I'm gonna kick in 10,000, I need a few years to get payback on my investment. I'm just using
Understand.
these small examples. So,
I
I'm
understand.
gonna reach out to a few of these other towns, and people that private individuals like ourselves, and see what I can come up with. And if anybody else comes up with something or sees something, let's, you know, we'll take some notes on it and we'll forward it over to you, Mika. Is that okay with you?
Please, no, that would be very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. That'd be great.
Okay.
We
Any other
will, one of the topics that we will bring up is extending it to 2 years. I know
Yeah.
right now the town is concerned about doing 5 years because it ties up a property for 5 years, not knowing necessarily what's going to change within that period. It's 5
Right.
years. 5 years doesn't seem like a long time, but it can be in terms of the change.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I do plan to have the Board of Selectmen discuss the potential for 2 years, being that that's something that I think we might be able to get done, but I don't, no reason to do it if you don't feel it helps. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to get your input on that before you left for the summer.
I think that's a start, Mika, you know?
Okay.
And it shows, you know, it shows like the town is willing to like work with us. We're willing to work with them. You guys are starting to work with us. You know, we got to give and take, everybody, and
I
see
agree.
where, you know, see how we can make it all work together. And let's try to make it like a smooth transition into something instead of, you know, throwing stones at one another.
I agree. That sounds good.
Okay.
I'll make sure we pursue it.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions or,
Just curious, Christina, do you know, was the state asking for a 5-year lease, or would 2 years help with the grant process?
You know, the state, I think, has a requirement for a 5-year lease. And I wonder if they would see it as a sign of good faith if we moved from 1 year to 2 years. I don't know for sure how much they consider things on a case by case basis. I do think that an NRCS, more of a federal type project, um, they usually have a project lifespan of about 5 years for theirs. Like if you get a high tunnel or implement conservation stewardship program type things. Um, but I have talked to them about doing some of these things without a 5-year lease, and I think they said that it was possible without a 5-year lease. So a 2-year lease would be, again, a better thing. And again, I'm making notes now to look up the specific wording of these responses from both the NRCS and from the State Department of Ag.
Send me those agencies,
because I
that
know-
information on those agencies, because we'll, you know, we can have people reach out to them and understand this a little bit better and see if they've actually
Absolutely.
allowed for 2 years. If they never have, and the only thing they do is 5 years, well, they can say all they want that it doesn't, they'll consider it, but if they haven't done it, then we need to do
Okay,
more
yeah,
work.
absolutely. Would it be helpful, Mika, for me to write an email kind of describing this with you and the contact person from one of those agencies copied
Yes,
on
yes,
there?
very
Or
much so. That would be
okay,
great, because then I can reach out to them directly. That'd be great.
okay,
Thank
yep,
you.
I'll do
Thank
that.
you very much.
Sure.
anything else, you guys? All righty. So, that looks like a positive move there. I appreciate that, Mika, reaching out. The third thing on our agenda was promoting Woodbridge Farms. Um, you know, it was interesting, you know, so I got the agenda here and, we talked about the different farms in town and we talked about maybe we could publicize the hours like in the, you know, the newsletters with the town. We also, I got, a thing from Beecher Road School the other day, and it was for Earth Day. They're talking about Earth Day, and they want to have like the little farmers market and all those things. So I think I think that was a positive thing. Um, one of the teachers reached out to me and said, "We'd like you to participate. We'd like to get your name there and do stuff." So um, I think the people are everybody's starting to open up and realize that we have some small farms. Let's support, you know, the local people in our town and be able to you know, get to know one another. And I think that's a positive thing. I think that if we starting maybe in the fall, we can line up like an agenda for the newsletter goes out once a month, Mika.
Yes,
So maybe, once a month or something or whatever, can we put a little blurb into the newsletter or
Wait,
what do we have to
actually,
do?
hold on. It's not once, Mika's newsletter goes out once a month, but the town's newsletter, it goes out 2 or 3 times, and I just recently did one that was like a spotlight on sustainability,
Yeah.
leading up to Earth Day. So if it's coming towards October and you guys have kind of farms you want to promote, I could do like a spotlight on the Agricultural Commission. You could talk about the farms and local farms, kind of playing off the blurb that was written, but we could do one, folks. There's a lot of different opportunities for newsletter incorporation now. It's not just once a month.
Okay. What about, you said, 2 or 3 times a year? You said the town sends the newsletter out
2 or 3 times a month.
2 or 3 times a month.
They're different themes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, all right. So then maybe at our next meeting, like what we'll try to do is adjust to what we feel is, what our needs are, when we should, promote different things. I mean, I think one of the things now is since the summer's coming and some of the farms will be, they're prepping and getting things ready. I saw Steve over at Massaro today. He was out in the fields doing stuff. I'm starting to do stuff. I'm sorry, Christina's still probably getting ready doing so. Everybody's doing a little something. But I think, to promote us a little bit more, I think, probably, beginning of July or something, we should put a little blurb in, remember your local farms, and these are some of the farms in the area. And just put like our hours,
Yeah.
Monday through Sunday from 10 to 6, they're open every day, or just on the weekends we're open, or look for upgrade. I know Massaro does a lot of different things where they promote. They have the big dinner where they have the big dinner they have, and they do a lot of different things with the schools and different things. So I think that would be something where we need to just talk between ourselves and try to every month to see where we stand, and then we could give you a call, Allison, or send you a little email saying, look, could we put this in our panel or in this list of what we'd like said or something like that?
Absolutely.
Does
I'm
that
happy
work?
to. Absolutely.
Oh.
And if there's a particular season, right, like let's say July, whatever, here,
Yeah.
did you know this is what's in season at your farm? There's many ways we could like play it, and I'm happy to help you guys and work with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Allison, I've got some thoughts on that too. So, yeah, let's talk that over a little bit.
Okay.
Because again, Mika has his first selectman report, and he could also, if at the right month, right? We'll work on that. We'll definitely. I'm happy to help. Communications and getting that stuff. That's like my passion. That's my forte in particular. So I'm here. We're here to help you with that.
Okay, Allison, and I'll talk to you too along the way. I can talk to you of some of my thoughts or things to that nature, and we can review it with Mika, or even if you guys have a question or you have some ideas, bring them out and say something to Allison and say, hey, look, this is what I was thinking. So when we sit and we meet again, Allison will say, well, I had this point of view from Chris, I had this point of view from Leland, I have this point of view from Robin, and Christina, you have this. And Mika will say, yeah, we're going to get all these. And Mika's got a lot on his plate. I know that. So,
So,
And,
Chris, just in terms of ideas, and this is something you folks can chew on, figure out how you want to deal with it. But I'm just thinking, Allison, for the summer period in particular, why don't we just put something in our newsletter that's called the farm stand?
Yeah.
Like something that we call.
Like a footer. Yes, I love
Yes.
that idea
Yeah,
for
I
the
love
whole
that.
summer. I think
Yep.
that's great.
Yep, and then we can focus on different farms, different things that you folks are doing.
Oh, I
And you
love
tell
that.
us what you want to put in there, and just like you said, you can do it from what fruits and/or vegetables, or what produce, mushrooms or whatever they may be, and are in season, and what's going on. But anyway, that's just the thought.
That's a great idea, and I wrote that down. And you and I will definitely talk about that more.
We'll flesh it out. We'll flesh it out.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
that.
I like that idea, Mika.
Yeah. And like you said, Chris, I think it's really important because I can tell you right now, here I sit, being in town 30 years, but I can't tell you operating hours for the farms that exist here.
Yeah,
When I pass by in the car, hopefully I see another car there and I stop by.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, those are just little things, but I remember a good friend of mine, he's not here with us anymore, Sam Parati down. He says, you got to have the same hours and you got to be consistent all the time. And if you can't just be open on weekends, you got to be open every single day,
Yeah.
because then people get used to that. He says, they're not looking at the store hours.
Yep.
And it was
yep.
so true. I mean, if you're there Monday through Sunday and our hours were 10 to 6, don't be playing around and say, okay, I'm going to open 9 on this day and 10 on this day and
We're closed
at
for lunch on
noontime we're
that
going to
day.
open up. He said it gets too confusing.
And you know what, Chris, you've been open 10 to 6 every day, every summer for as long as I can remember.
Yes. Yes.
And you know what? We knew enough that we would come, my family would go at about 5:55.
Yeah.
Get corn.
You would join Lexi Lawler because Lexi Lawler would be there all the time. The
Yeah,
Lawler
because we
boys.
wanted it to be just picked. So then
Yeah.
we get what you picked at like 5:40.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so true. It's so true. That's a good idea. So Allison, I'm going to stay in touch with you. And you guys as well, fill in with Allison and we'll talk with her and
Sounds good.
we'll get that going. I appreciate that, Mika.
You're welcome.
I know, is there any other questions or any more thoughts? And does anybody else have any other ideas?
Chris, let's see.
Well, following up, oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
go, please, Christina, your meeting.
Chris, following up on what you had mentioned about the Earth Day
Yeah,
celebration at the town,
Yeah.
I was thinking it might be nice to have on all of the tables of the farms for any
Yeah.
of us who participate to just have a little, maybe a little sheet that says, ask me about the Ag Commission or something. If someone either has a farm or knows a farmer or has a neighbor who might be interested in the Ag Commission,
yeah,
maybe we could chat people up just so that they know that they can put a face to a name of someone maybe who could talk about the Ag Commission and what we do.
yeah. I mean, that's a good idea. Allison, I'll talk to you on that this week. And maybe we can put something together for that. And,
Yes, I'm also, as I can get you signs very easily for your tables. Mika can attest to my quick turnaround on signage for tables.
Thankfully.
Okay. That sounds good. Go ahead, Mika. You were going to say something before?
Well, I was going to ask, Chris, I remember at one point in time, we had put a list of all, like as many of the farms in Woodbridge as we could think of. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if there's still that list, if there's an updated list, if there's value in putting something along those lines together. So at least, initially, particularly if you do a column, one of the first things you can do is saying, hey, believe it or not, here's what we have in Woodbridge.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well-
just a thought.
Well, there is, I mean, when you start thinking about the different farms, you got the winery over there and
Yep.
over there on Ford Road. That's another farm. I mean, there's different farms. People do different things. There's people who raise some beef cattle.
Yeah.
People grow fruits and produce. I mean, so there's a lot of different types of farming, and people always think, oh, it's fruits and vegetables. No, there's other avenues that,
Yeah.
that's part of farming.
So that would be wonderful to communicate to people in my mind.
Yeah, that's another good point. Okay. I'm gonna reach out and that's a good idea. I'm gonna write that
Chris,
down now.
I think Andrea maybe was the person who had compiled a list for us.
Yeah,
Do you want me to follow up with her? I could
yeah.
just
Would
ask
you do
her-
that? Just send her an email and ask her if she could forward, the information that we had put together on the farms. And then maybe we can add to that list and then give that to Allison. And that could be part of some of the things we do when we put our, like the little farm stand thing or the newsletter or what, into the newsletter. Which I think would be very positive for everybody. And
Yeah,
then
and I think-
let us know how you make out, Christina.
Yeah, we'll do. And
Okay.
if people, if you, maybe we can I don't know, check in once a year or so to update that list if anyone has moved into our
Okay.
neighborhood or come across our emails as people who are starting new farms or kind of rejuvenating things that they've done in the past, maybe.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll follow up with Andrea.
okay. I thank you. Any other
If you would,
questions, comments?
I'll just add this, when doing this types of activity, keep in mind, like in this case, what we're saying is we're looking for a list. So if Andrea has a list, it's great. Let's get the list to Allison, who can then pass it out to you folks and say, hey, I need an update on this. What can you tell me? You know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But what you want to be careful is we don't want to have meetings on emails. So you don't want to go back and forth and ask people for information and pass information, and keeping in mind that any communication you have is public information. So, but you don't want to make it into you're making a decision about something, because that's something that should only take place here in the public as a meeting.
Right,
Okay,
right.
just to keep that in mind.
Okay. That sounds good, Mika. Well, I guess from there, I guess that draws our agenda to a close. And I was gonna make a motion to for adjournment, adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I
And I thank you all for joining us. Mika, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And, it feels good to be in, it feels good to be part of this again. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you guys again.
Thank you for all your
Thanks,
positive
Mika.
comments.
Thank you.
Appreciate it
You're
all,
welcome.
Mika.
You
Thanks
bet.
Good
so
night,
much.
everyone.
Take
Night,
care.
And
guys.
everyone, have
all.
a great summer.
Okay.
Good summer.